We're going to talk about the new treatment for Varroa mites that just got approved a month or two ago. It's called Norroa. It's like Varroa, the Varroa mite, but it's pronounced Norroa. We have had many new treatments that have come out. Well, we've had new treatments this year, and we've had changes to treatments as well. There's the spelling of it. If you're unfamiliar with it, this is a new treatment. It's not available in every state. I'll talk about that in just a minute. But this is the Norroa mite treatment. If you've never heard of it yet, I'll give you some facts about it. The Norroa treatment it's called a double-stranded RNA treatment. And we'll talk more about it. But what it is a way that we can get a genetic material into the mite so that when the mite eats this material, a gene is silenced and they cannot reproduce. A Varroa mite, once they ingest this material, it changes their DNA and such where they are no longer reproductive. I pulled this off their website, but it says it significantly boosts overwinter survival. Now they have the overwinter survival success here. You can see the differences between untreated or a control group in the red, and then you see one that was treated with traditional treatments in the spring and fall, and then of course the yellow one or the orange one is the Norroa treatment, and you can see how much better success there is in that. And I'll explain why it is this way. You can see here from their website again, they talk about it lasts 18 weeks. You can see here the different claims that they make. It's pretty impressive. It's bee friendly. You don't have to worry about your honey supers on or off. It doesn't affect the bees that way. It is a new way, a very different mode of action, a new way of treating for mites. Yeah, green light bioscience. It's not their first time to make a product for an animal. They have made other products like this for other animals. Honeybees are animals. There's two types of kingdoms. There's the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom. So they make it for animals. And of course, RNA based treatment for the Varroa mite. Let's go and let me show you a few things about it. It's an advanced genetic technique that downregulates the production of the gene that's involved in the Varroa mite's reproduction. Vatiscana, and that's kind of a brand name. I'm not sure if they use that a lot. It seems like Norroa has been a name that they're kicking around, but Vatiscana, that is kind of a brand name, and it consists of 372 nucleotide base pair designed to match a sequence in the Varroa mite's camelidin gene. So what it's doing is it's actually reducing or changing the mite from being reproductive to non-reproductive. Now, this treatment has not been approved in all states yet. Here's a list of the states where it has been approved. Probably this updates every day, and I may have some on there that may have been approved that aren't on the list now. Illinois, my home state where I'm at, is not approved. I can't use it. So I can't even buy some. I was going to buy some and feed it to my bees as I feed in the fall. I couldn't get any because it's not approved. I guess the route that you have to go through to get things approved like that, it can be a fast route or it can be a very slow route. Here are the approved states. You can see the treatment here. It's a pouch. On the right side, you can see the pouch. If you look closely, you can see it has little holes in it. So this is a sugar liquid substance with the dsRNA in it. And the bees, when they get up on top of it, they don't weigh much, but their weight will cause this to bubble. And that's how you administer the treatment. You can see the bees on it. So they drink up, eat up the sugar, and it has the treatment in it, and it gets into their bodies and it stays active in the hive for about 18 weeks after they consume it. You have to apply 2 pouches per box. Now, their instructions say 2 deep brood boxes require 4 pouches, okay? And so you can get a 2-dose pack that treats 1 box, or let me do my math here, but if I do it right, 12-dose pack will treat 6 brood boxes, or that would be 3 hives. So in other words, you could actually buy a pack of this. You could buy the 12 pack if you have 2 or 3 hives, and you would have enough here to treat these 12 doses would treat 3 hives. So it's not cheap. I don't think it's cheap. Maybe you do, but I don't think it is. Well, let me show you why for a couple of reasons. Here's the cost of that 12 pack that could treat 3 hives for 18 weeks, and that's $114. So you can see not too cheap, is it? And so, I guess it depends on what if you're used to using oxalic acid and you know what OA crystals cost, they're very inexpensive. They treat a lot of hives. But on the other hand, if you have a small number of hives, then maybe this wouldn't be terribly cost prohibiting. But it is not something that is cheap. I forget how much the 2-pack was if you want to treat 1 hive. So there is a little bit of added expense to it. I jotted down some notes here, and I want beekeepers to know that I don't view this treatment, and I don't think, and in fact, I know when I talked to the 2 gentlemen representing it, they didn't view it either as a standalone, once and done treatment. So you have to look at it this way. Let's say that a Varroa mite comes into your hive riding on the back of a drone or a worker or a robber bee that comes in with a mite on the bee, right? That's how they come in. Mites come in the front door on your bees. And that mite jumps off and walks around a little while. And let's say that it does get between, the backs of the bee or underneath the abdomen, and it goes, it's called the cuticle, the hard shell around the honeybee, and they have soft tissue where these plates on the bee's back and abdomen where they overlap, and the mite will work her way between these sections where the bees have that weak spot. They will pierce it with their body parts, the mites will, and suck the hemolymph fat bodies from the bee. When the mite does that, if that bee has been treated with Norroa, then that mite will ingest that double-stranded DNA, and it will cause that mite to not be able to be reproductive. It will not reproduce. It does not kill that mite. We're used to treatments killing mites, and that's what's going to be hard, I think, for beekeepers to grasp. Oxalic acid, it kills mites. Formic acid kills mites. All of our treatments are designed to kill mites, destroy them. They get all these treatments on them or in them, and they just dehydrate, they die. This is different. That mite that we're talking about that came in the front door, now it ingested some of that double-stranded DNA. It has worked on their DNA and caused a silencing of their reproductive gene, and now they can't reproduce. Guess what? That mite is still able to live out her entire life. It doesn't do anything other than stop reproduction. And so having the Norroa treatment, it helps, but that mite is still going to live. It just can't reproduce. So that mite will still be biting or, getting blood. The hemolymph is another word for blood. It gets the blood out of the bee, the fat body out of the bee, and it will keep doing that its whole life. So it's remember, it's still going to be potentially spreading the foreign wing virus. If it has that, it's going to continue to spread viruses. That mite will. That's the part that concerns me. I want beekeepers to understand that while this is another tool in our toolbox, and I think a very good tool, I think it has a very good mode of action. It is so much different than our other treatments, because remember, the other treatments are killing mites, which means it's such a harsh chemical. We know that it also affects our bees. If you use it at the wrong temperature, it will hurt your bees, all that. This doesn't do that. It's a different mode of action. So in that sense, I think it would be a very good treatment if we administered it like in the spring or late in the year, in the fall, going in the winter. it lasts 18 weeks. I mean, you don't have any mites coming into the front door now. I don't, because they're not, my bees aren't foraging, they're not robbing, it's cold outside. But if you go into winter with mites, the mites will live and they'll reproduce even in the wintertime. Not as many, but they still will. But in this case, if you treated and cut down on the mites that are in there, not to be able to reproduce, well, then there won't be any new mites once they go through their life cycle and die in that hive. They can't reproduce. And we do need to consider continuing to use other types of treatments during that time as well. David, you mentioned a deformed wing. Is it a virus or a bacteria? Is there a treatment? Deformed wing is a virus, and that's why it makes it hard. Even with humans, it's hard for us to treat viruses. Viruses are not really alive or dead. They go in, a virus goes in and it takes over cells and replicates like a copy machine. Out of one cell, it can make gazillions of copies of itself as a virus. That's why we get sick. We get really sick. And it takes a long time for us to get better from a virus infection. Bacterial infections in humans, we can take an antibiotic and get over it. Same with bees. We do have bacterial infections that we can treat for with honeybees. We can't treat American foul brood because most states require you to burn your bees. It's so contagious. But European foul brood, Melissococcus plutonus, you can actually treat with a oxytetracycline antibacterial. So you can treat European foul brood bacteria because bacteria dies to antibiotics. Viruses, not so much. Deformed wing virus, that's what it's called. And it is a tough one to control. There are laboratories working on finding ways to kill a virus like that, but it's really tough. You can actually see it. Your bees will have a deformed wing, or it kind of looks like it's burnt or melted. Stop the pesticides and bees' health will improve, and so will human beings. Well, that is certainly, yes, that is true. All of us there's no one that would disagree with that. No one would disagree with that. Nobody that was an intelligent thinker, because the word side means death. So pesticide means you want to kill pests, and all pesticides, insecticides, whatever. I mean, we use miticides. The word miticide kills mites, right? All of those things have a death agent to it. How they affect us and, how it crosses species and all, we think we know, studies are done, but I think if any of us were given a chance to live in a pesticide-free environment or one filled with pesticides, we would all choose pesticide-free environment, right? Absolutely. I can't argue with what you're saying. I do feel that there are times when we have to use them. I know I don't like to use them on my bees, pesticides, miticides. I don't want to, I don't like to, but I don't like losing bees either. And I'm very careful about how I use it. Okay. Yeah. Past life, I owned a pest control company. Oh yeah. Growth regulators and roaches have been used for years to stop reproduction, even using spores on bed bugs to stop reproduction. Hey, JR, I didn't know that was you. Having some science to start on this issue is great. Okay, yeah. I wondered if some beekeepers would be like, I don't know if I like this double-stranded RNA approach because it sounds like we're tinkering and with genetics, we're going to be, but the way this gene suppression and all that is working, it has no effect on honeybees. It cannot, it's not wired that way. If it goes in and out of the bee without any effect at all, it would humans as well. So it is something that I know some people that are really against this would say, how do you know? Well, that's when you have to, just go with science and trust it. But yeah, I understand what you might be wondering about that. I got to tell you, I love working bees and I love studying bees. I'm going to say that I probably love working bees 51% and I love studying bees 49%. So it's pretty close race. I can't get enough of beekeeping. I love it. I love everything about it. I love bee anatomy. I love bee biology. I love studying. I love learning things about bees. And I worked really hard to become a certified master beekeeper with EAS. And in doing that, I thought I was really cramming. I mean, I had to learn a lot of things to get ready to pass those tests. And it took me 2 years to pass 4 tests, right? So, but once I became a certified master beekeeper, I actually started learning more about bees after I became a master beekeeper. And that, I think that's the way it should be, because, you know, I don't, so in some professions, you have to go back and keep learning. You have to take a special training every year to stay fresh on whatever, I just love it. Nobody has to tell me to stay fresh, because I answer a lot of your questions. I make videos. I need to know this information. I have I think 9 presentations to make in the next 14 days in conferences. I got to know my stuff, right? So I'm always learning and teaching, and I love it. I hope you love it. I hope that, I hope you really enjoy learning about bees, not just what are my bees doing? I'm worried about hives are dying, and will they make it through winter? Are they too cold? Do they need fed? Do I have a queen? Those are the questions that we all wrestle with. But find time in your beekeeping hobby or life to find time to really study bees. I think learning about bees makes all of us much better beekeepers. You know what I mean? It really does. So don't ever stop learning about bees. Try to really find yourself, even if you have to take little baby steps. I started beekeeping when I was 30 or something like that. I didn't even know anything about biology. I'd taken biology in college, but I wasn't a biology major or anything. So it wasn't my focus. Yeah, learning about bees, keep learning. Don't ever stop learning. And I think hopefully you like my channel enough that you're learning from me. I think one of the things that I enjoy now about the live stream that we have every Thursday night is I have a word of the live stream on bee biology. And it's a good word. I mean, it's always a word. It's not a word that you hear often, but it's one that's used often. And so I'm trying to educate my audience, and I hopefully you've come to appreciate that. Yeah. Now, if you want to see more tips on becoming a better beekeeper, I just made a really good video that I think will help you out, how to be an interpretive beekeeper, how to really know how to keep bees. Check it out right over here.